right, good afternoon. Um, so far with our CRM, whenever we've had inbound emails, that works well for coming in and registering with the person who sent it. So that's what we've tackled so far. But what we really all want to do is to also associate that with the company that's associated with it. Now, we could have a person who's associated with a company with an email address, but they also might be associated with multiple companies. So we can't really say like a person to company mapping. That doesn't really work. So I'm thinking about that a little bit to see if there's maybe a way to tackle that. But what we're going to do for now is that we'll be able to add a domain to a company. So if acme.com is registered with Acme, then any inbound email from whatever at acme.com would be associated with that as well. So that would kind of build that connection. So that is the goal for today. So, all right. So let's take a look and see what we have right now. So if we look into our email importer, we have our email activity that we do here, where we kind of connect things up. So our email activity, email activity, not new. So we import the email, we create the activity. Email activity brings in the, right, and this is just a plain Ruby object. So we get our email that comes in. We create an activity with that. And then we look up all the people. So here we want to do, companies for email address, something along those lines. Which obviously won't work. But yeah, what we want to really be able to do is, companies for email address, which is going to look very similar to this. So this is going to be companies for email address, account.email addresses. So it's going to be something like account.companies, where domain is something like this. And I think that so this is going to actually get it directly. So we actually need to map this too, because that's going to be directly on. Because do I want to allow multiple domains for a company? Probably should. Yeah. So we'll have to do something like that. Email.from domain is what we want here, which doesn't exist either. So that's kind of where we're going. This will be the gist of it. So the task that we need to do is to add on the domain concept. So then this is going to work very similar to the email address. So if we look at the email address, we can see that we've got our contactable there. So we'll have our domain, we'll have our contactable. So let's do that. Rails G model domain, and this is going to have a domain. So we've got, just to be a little bit more clear, we have our domain model, and we have our domain on that model and our contactable, which should be a reference, and that's going to be polymorphic. So this means that it's not going to be connected directly to companies, even though that's the only place I'm seeing it going to be used right now. I have an idea of kind of generalizing a few of these things, so that's the only reason I'm kind of doing it this way thus far. References. It helps to spell right. Pro tip. So our domain, we want that to not be null. No, contactable sounds good. And polymorphic true. Dump the pending specs. So with this, I usually try to have like kind of whatever their primary kind of descriptor is. I like to throw into a sequence, that way I can easily distinguish them if I'm doing it in a test. So we'll just make that into a sequence. Okay, if we go over to the company model, it's similar to the email addresses. We're going to have domains. So that's good. All right. So if we hop over to the companies, edit. Oh, do we not have anything in there? I don't think we do. So take a look at the show. So we're going to basically be able to take the same concept. So if we go to the company show, yeah, we already have that there. All right, so let's fill that up and let's let it start yelling at us. So missing partial domains. Yep. And I like just kind of having some of these things handy. So if we look at kind of email addresses, this is going to be a very similar structure. So domains, contactable.domains, each domain, and for here we'll just spit out the domain itself and go add domain, new domain path, contactable, and this will be contactable-sgid. And new domain path doesn't exist, right? All right. Let's add a domain. So when we do our normal TDD process, this is basically kind of what we're doing. So I'm just kind of manually going through it here instead of actually writing a test for it. Just kind of tackle it a different way for right now. All right. And again, if we take a look at the email address of the controller, we can get a good feel for what we should be doing in here. So we got our contactable, and then we got our new address. So we're going to do a new domain. We'll leave it as is. Can't find new. Yep. New.html.erb. All right, we got a panel, we got a modal for the domain. It has a hidden contactable field because we want to keep that in there. And the input of domain, and we're just doing a simple domain, that's it. So for here, we're going to say gmail.com. Gmail.com. Create domain. And I don't think that worked. Create can be found, right? And I'm just going to send a message real quick. All right, domain params. This can be params.require domain.permit domain. So we create our, and if we look at the email addresses, so in here we're not scoping it to the account, but that's because we have the contactable. The contactable already implicitly inside of it is associated with the account, and because these are signed global IDs, it means that we don't have to worry about the user doing something weird to get somewhere they shouldn't. So we can do that. This is still safe to do. All right, so we can go domain equals domain.new, domain params, and we get contact won't save, and yeah. All right, now if I go in here, I should be able to do what was it, gmail.com. Params that require. Again, try using the right code and it will help. All right, so now we have our Gmail. Great. So that now works. So the next thing we need to do is kind of backfeed into here where we have that email.from domain. So if we go to our email, we do have the from address, and I wonder if there's this would be easy enough to split on the @ but I'm sure that there's edge cases that this doesn't work properly. And I'm sure that there's yeah, like I was going to jump to something like this. But I got a feeling that there's actually like some stuff that would, like I'm just like, I'm sure there's edge cases where it's something like whatever.com. I don't know if that's valid or not. I don't know if you're like, it's easy enough to do from.2s.split @symbol.last. Like that's what my naive guess would be, is that we're doing there, something like those, along those lines. And actually that does make me think that in here, return unless, return if domain dot blank, you know, actually I wonder what happens. if I have 1, 2, 3, I shovel into that 4, you actually shouldn't be doing a shovel operator there. I should be adding that. And if I did plus nil, then yeah, that's going to be a problem. Yeah, so this actually should probably be a plus. It's only just happened to work. Yeah, I'll have to check that. But I don't think that should be that. Okay. So I wonder if there's some Rails magic that's made me not blow up my face there. Okay, so from domain, I think that works. Let's do email.last.from. How about from domain, and see if that worked. That looks like it does. Great. Okay. So if I go and I do domain.last.contactable, that gives you the company. All right, so I think that this actually works. That might be all that's needed. Email. Let me just check and see which account I have on here. All right, so I do have my business email set up. So I'm going to do email importer .new email count .last .import, and I am going to email myself. So this is going to be to jonathan@jbennett.me and test company import. And that's going to be coming from my Gmail account. All right, let's run this. Ooh. What blew up? So let me look at all right, so let me look what's going on here. Error companies.domain. Oh yeah, that's it. Account.domains is what we need to be doing. Is what we're looking for. And there really isn't a relationship for that. So what I want to be doing is account.companies. I want to join this to the domains where domain is gmail.com. Does that give me account.first Do I have... So companies and join domains on domains, kind of type company. Yeah, that looks right. Where domains. There we go. I think that should do it. Yeah. All right. So count.companies. Companies dot joins domains, where domain, that's not redundant at all. That I think should do it. All right, I don't know. Email is new. Test company import. All right, so we can see that that's coming in. Insert into emails. Insert into activity. Yep. Insert into activity records. Yep. And all right, let's see what we got here. So if we go to people, okay, Joe Blow, we have our test company import associated with person 1. And this, domain.com, that should be associated with that. Why are you not? What's going on? So company to join domains on domain.contact ID and contact develop company's ID and domain. Oh, method missing undefined, contactable. All right, because I'm not getting domains, I'm getting the contact itself. Okay, so let's remove that email. So if I go into the emails and test company 1, let's delete that. And reload and am I looking at the right? Yep. Okay. So let's run that again. Insert into activities. Test company import. We added the activity for it. Actually, this is going to blow up my face a little bit. Because I'm keeping some records lying around. Email records. All right. It looks like it's not. So let's just put in here, puts out the domain. Actually, we can see that's asking for So the companies. So it is getting that. So that looks good. Am I doing this wrong? Should this be the shovel operator? Let's try that again. We will see. We'll delete that. I'm deleting the activity on my other screen. Instant activity record. That looks promising. So if we go to our people, Joe Blow, we have the test company import. If we go to the companies, macro hard, we have the test company input. Or import rather. And they have no activities. Lies. So that looks like it works. So what this means is that when we add a domain for a company from now on, those emails will get tracked for the company and for the person. So let's clean up. What are we at? 26 minutes? We got a second. So let's hop in, and if we go to the companies show, no activities is here. And let me check what. Do I have a no activities in here? No. Okay. So if I go to the company show, no new activities. For this, we want this to be hidden. So it's not going to appear normally. But if it's the only child, we want it to be a block. So if we go to companies, other company, it has no activities because it's the only child. This lets us, especially as we start adding things to the activities dynamically, that will just mean that it goes away and works properly automatically. And we're going to put that in there as well. All right. And actually we can put that into the projects. And this now, someone should go, you need to pull that out. So let's do that while we're in here. So we have our activity. Let's do a new activities. Activities.html.erb. And if we look at company show, what we really want to be able to do in here is render activities activities. So what I'm wondering is, do I want to pass in the activities itself? Or do I want to pass in the, I don't know, activity-able, which would then be the, where are we, company. I'm not sure right now. I can see this getting a lot more functional, where it has options and configuration, and I don't want to be doing that every single time. So I'm going to do activity-able, which is a terrible word. I'm going to have to reconsider that probably, but for right now, something like that. If we go to the companies, no activity. If we go to companies, macro hard, we've got it. Good. And if I then go to people show, I should be able to pull that out and change this to person. And just to confirm that this is working, if we go to people, Joe Blow, no activities. And now there are activities. And if we go to the projects, we're going to do the same thing. And we've got activities. All right. So let's take a look at what we did here. So we have our domains controller. We've got our company. We've got our domain. Yeah, there's room for cleanup and a few tweaks and stuff, but what is that in? That is in the email activity. Let's take that out. Yeah, that I'm still looking at it sketchy. All right. So there you go. That's quickly wiring up domains for a company and importing it, and then it be flexible and robust, and yeah. And we'll one of the things that I'm considering is retroactively importing that, if that's something I want to do, or something that can be like triggered, because if you add a person to a company later on or something like that, does that get lost or not connected? So I have to think kind of going back and reconnecting old history and seeing if that's something I want to be doing. So that's for next time. Take care.